Good evening, everyone. This is Ron. Monday, the 20th of February, a little after 6 p.m., and we'll go ahead and get started. As usual, we'll see if we have any questions or comments. Anyone? Okay. Somebody trying to get on? Okay. Well, if we don't have any questions or comments, just for a few minutes tonight, if you guys want to turn to Isaiah, let's look at chapter 1 of Isaiah and talk about that for a minute. Okay. Pastor's having some trouble with his phone, but Isaiah, the chapter I really see that I like is chapter 6, and I see us all over this, all in it rather, and I some of this I see and understand, and some of it I don't, but that's okay. We unravel what we're supposed to see, and what we don't, we'll see at another time. But what I'll do, I have two versions of a Bible here, so kind of want to use both of them if I can. But then one is an easier read. But I'm going to use my New American Standard and start at verse 1, first chapter of Isaiah. The vision of Isaiah, the son of Amoz, concerning Judah and Jerusalem, which he saw during the reign of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Listen, O heaven, and hear, O earth, for the Lord speaks. Sons I have reared and brought up, but they have revolted against me. An ox knows its owner, and a donkey its master's manger. But Israel does not know, my people does not know. My people do not understand. Airless, sinful nation, people weighed down with iniquity, offsprings of evildoers, sons who act corruptly, They have abandoned the Lord. They have despised the Holy One of Israel. They have turned away from him. Okay. I probably look at this all the way down to verse 9, about as far as I've read this. And as I said, I wanted to get to the verse chapter 6 to look at that, where he says, God says, who will I send? Isaiah says, send me. There's a lot of stuff in there, but this first verse here in chapter 1 is what caught my attention. And that's the one I want to talk about tonight, if we can. Okay. I, for one, have not given a lot of credit or a lot of attention to what praise means, and taking a close look at that. And till I started looking at this chapter, then I saw something here that really, really jumped out at me. And again, I think it connects with us. I was mentioning something to Pastor that was very intimate with me, and something I think is very special. Uh, my mom passed a couple of years ago, and some of you may remember that. But I remember going home one weekend because my sister was staying with her at the hospital, so I go up there and relieve her on weekends. So I get there, and it's in the middle of the night one night, and I heard mom kind of mumbling, and it didn't bother me uh, because I understood what that was. Looking at it from a spiritual thing, I knew she wasn't trying to talk to me, and I also felt that she wasn't in distress in any kind of way. So it was she was calm, that was okay with me. In fact, I appreciated the peace and looked at it as part of her transitioning. Uh, but later on that night, she opened her eyes, and I sat up because I was sitting in a chair by her bed, and I sat up, and our eyes met, and she said, "I'm tired, Ma," and I knew what she was saying, and I said to her, I said, "Mom, it's okay." I said, "Ann and I are okay, and we will support you and be with you whichever way you go." And I said to her, I said, "Are you okay? Do you need to talk?" She says, "No, I'm okay. Everything's okay." And she turned over and went back to sleep. Well, that stuck with me. Uh, it stuck with me because I felt the peace in her voice when she said that. And that was really the end for me because from that point on, it didn't matter what happened. So as I look at this and I've studied what praise looks like, that describes praise. Praise is giving up your all. When you look up the word, uh, like Judah, she called her son Judah. I'm gonna flip back and look at that in a minute too. But when you look up the word, it talks about to cast or to throw your hands, or to cast out or to throw your hands, and it goes into some other things too, to be thankful, to make confession, which is something Pastor had said, and I didn't see it when he said that. To bow down. But what it is talking about, that cast. One of the writers, one of the guys you hear me talk about all the time, Benner. Benner says what that is if you can imagine somebody uh, in a celebration way, just kind of throw everything up, just throw your hands up. In other words, your hands represent your authority. Your hands represent your strength. Your hands also represent your actions. So what it is saying is, I have nothing left. Whether it is in a confession or whether it is in a celebratory way, it is saying, I have nothing left. I give it all up. I give you this. So the praise that we're looking at here is very important, and it made me think about that when I thought about my mom. Am I at that place? Am I at that place where I can surrender all of me without being on my deathbed, without being at that final hour? So that's what caught my attention at this, and it made and still continues to cause me to examine myself, because praise is a lot more powerful than I thought it was. And even, you guys don't have to turn here, but I'm going to turn and read from Genesis 29, because I'm going to come back to we're going to come back to Isaiah. But I just want you just listen to this. This is the when Jacob has married Leah and her sister Rachel. And I'm starting at verse 31. It says, "And the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, and he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bore a son and named him Reuben. For she said, Because the Lord has seen my afflictions, surely my husband will love me. Then she conceived again and bore a son and said, Because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. So she named him Simon. And she conceived again and bore a son and said, Now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore, he was named Levi. Now listen at this one. And she conceived again and bore a son and said, This time I will praise the Lord. Therefore his name was Judah. Then she stopped bearing children. So God granted her what she wished for while her focus was on her husband. But as soon as she takes her focus off of her husband, she bears the 4th child, and it says at that point her womb was closed. What closes her womb? She does not give any thought to Jacob. She gives thought to God. In other words, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. This is what I am. I'm going to praise God. Look at what he has done for me. So when you look at that, and I even looked up for the 4th child, it talks about to govern, to have authority, and it means the fullness, and it is the 4th Hebrew letter, Dalet, which also means a doorway or portal, so something can come out or go back in. It also means to draw in or to draw something out. So as you can see, this is very powerful, and when I look at this word, because it says the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amoz, and I'm gonna go through these names in a minute, which concerning Judah and Jerusalem. So Judah is the kingdom. Judah is the kingdom when Israel was divided. So you had Israel was one kingdom, and you had Judah was the other kingdom, and you see that Jerusalem, and we'll get into Jerusalem in a minute as well, was the capital of that. So that is amazing to me. And to show you how spiritual this is, it says the vision, not with an S, the vision of Isaiah. And then it turns around and names 4 different kings. So let's talk about this for a minute. So let's look at this. I want to look at. I hope does Judah sound clear to you? If that sounds any questions in your understanding of what Judah is what I'm trying to get you to see anyway. Anybody? Does
It's
it make
clear.
sense?
Yes.
Okay. A couple other things. What did it say? I got from that. It means I said to throw the hand out, to extend your hands, to extend your strength, to cast out, to confess, to praise, to be thankful, those kind of things. So that's Judah. The other thing that I like in this is it is accompanied Judah and Jerusalem. Nick just went over Jerusalem with me, with us, last 2 or 3 weeks, I suppose. But I found some other information on Jerusalem that I thought was also important for us to look at. It talks about the fire that Nick was talking about, that purification fire, that fire that's always burning in you. It also says that first part of Jerusalem, Jeru, talks about something that is flowing in you. a flowing in you that never stops. Something in you, this flame, this energy, it is always burning. It is always flowing. It is always taking you somewhere. It is always fulfilling your desire, helping you fulfill that desire. So that just kind of goes on with what Nick said. And Nick said the second part of that, Salem, meaning peace. It goes beyond peace. Salem talks about the flow of peace that leads you to completion and wholeness, that leads you to a place of understanding, a place of comfort in your wholeness. And that completion is when you realize that you are at one, you are with rhythm with the universe. You feel that rhythm of the universe. You feel like this thing that you have been chasing has consumed you. This thing has overpowered you, and you are no longer who you sought out to be when this thing began. So this is a part of this completion, this wholeness is when you start seeing the or feeling or experiencing that part that is set aside, that womb that opens up for you to grow. So things are materializing you, so you can see things and become enlightened. Okay, so Jerusalem and Judah go together. The praise and Jerusalem. This is a power. This is an energy. This is something that talks about unity with the universe, unity with the Creator, unity with yourself. So and praise again. If I didn't say this part, it speaks of your actions. From this point, this is talking about your actions. It's who you are. It completely overtakes you, and this is a journey, if you will. Okay. Any questions about that portion of it? Pastor, are you on yet?
I don't see him on yet, Ron.
Okay. He's having a problem with his home phone. As it wasn't working properly, so he's trying to get on with his cell. Forgive me, I kind of lost my place here with my notes. I got notes all over the place. Bear with me. Okay. So now let's look at this a minute. He says Isaiah is a beautiful name. Isaiah talks about salvation of Yah. Yah is another name for God, for the God of Israel. And it is comes from two words, Yasha, which means to deliver, and the other word is the proper name for God as it is called. Just called the name, which we've talked about in the past, but it is the highest honor that when we talk about God, when we talk about Jehovah and who God is. So when what I am saying to us is we're at that place where we have gone through seeing ourselves as the human. We have talked about seeing ourselves as being one with Elohim. We have talked about seeing ourselves as being Elohim. So as this thing progresses and we see ourselves, it also, this ties it in with man. We are deliverance. Yes, I said it. We are deliverance. Excuse me. That's what this is saying. You are one with all that exists. With all that exists. it says, in Isaiah, the son of Amoz, that name, shoot, Ron, where is it? That name means to be stout, to be strong, to be bold, to be courageous. That's not where we are. We have gone through the phase where we say, man, is this me? Can I be this? Can I be Yahweh? Can I be or Elohim? Is this talking about us? So as we go through this journey, we continue on this journey concerning this, still in verse 1, concerning Judah and Jerusalem, which he saw, which he perceived during the reigns of Uzziah. That first king means strength, the strength of Yah, the strength of God, the strength of Jehovah. It comes from another word, the Z in it, OZ means strength of mighty, to be strong. You see, Jotham, the next king, Jotham, means the Lord is perfect, to be complete, to be finished, upright. Ahaz, is that the next one? Ahaz means he has grasp, to grasp or to take hold, to take possession of something. The last one, Hezekiah. Hezekiah is Yah is strength, has strengthened. And it comes from a word, Chazak and Yah. Chazak, you talked about Yah, the proper name of God. Chazak means to grow firm, to grow stronger, to be strengthened. So as you see, this is a journey. These are all aspects of the Creator that each and every one of us pass through in our own way. Why? Because we're individual, or you are ready to go through this. But this is the journey of each and every one of us as we are strengthened. You notice all of it says the strength of Yahweh. All of it talks about being strong. All of it talks about a path or a journey that you take. So we even when we were in 1 Samuel and looking at those names, those are talking about a journey. All those times you may be unsure or maybe even the portion of the journey that surpasses your years in the earth. You are operating now from a spiritual self. This is not talking about the time that you have been here in South Carolina or wherever you are. This is talking about your soul, the soul of man, and what it means to Yahweh, that oneness, that completeness that you are. So as we go through this, and just as an example, another example anyway, to kind of hopefully make all this make sense, because it's not, I hope it's not coming across as sounding complicated, because it's really, really not. The example I give is, do not think for a minute that two of the kings of America was a black man followed by Donald Trump. All of those things happen for a reason. Those things happen to plow the land, to get the action started, so that things could be revealed that needed to be revealed. On the other side of this, it happened to us. We had to be strengthened. If this doesn't happen, do we have opportunity to see who we are? So in the midst of this, a pandemic happens. And then when the pandemic happens, we become isolated. We become part, we go inside the womb and we grow. And when we come out of this womb, we don't come out the same way that we went in. We come out different creatures. We come out with assurance of who we are. Whereas we went in and we were reading stuff and we were gaining knowledge, but when we went through this ordeal, we became what we were pursuing. So that is the strength to me of that first chapter. It speaks of the journey of the righteous man. It speaks of the journey of he who is pursuing truth, and of course I mean mankind. He that is pursuing truth. Any questions on this, y'all, or comments?
I have a question, Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that the ultimate praise then is when, not when we become like God, but when we realize that we are, and then we start to live our lives based on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, because you reminded me of something I didn't say on last week. When we were looking at, I forget what we was in the New Testament looking at something at the wedding supper, and we talked about the lame and the crippled and the sick and all those things. Even those things we have to give up, and some of that may not even be yours. But we give all that up because it is all part of the same journey. We give up our hurt. We give up those things that hurt us in the past. We give up that pain. We even give up those lustful pleasures that we may have. We see the greater good in who we are, and that is what we become. That is what we pursue. So yeah, when we are able, because as I use the example of my mom, in that predicament, you are open. You see things that I don't think the average human gets to see. And that's why I mentioned about her murmuring and talking. I think she was in a different place. So even us, before we get to that point in this life, we have opportunity to see those things or to be that type of enlightenment. I believe that with every piece of strength in me. So just as Isaiah is pointing this out, we too have opportunity to be all that God intends for the human to be, the Son of Man to be. I'm gonna go a step further, and I don't want to get myself in trouble here because this sounds a little crazy. I even question sometimes if a lot of this scripture, we look at it as history. I wonder sometimes, I see it sometimes sort of like a play written out, waiting for somebody to live it. So whether it actually happens as history, I don't think is the most important part of this. I think the becoming of the words, pulling the words off of the page and making them action is far more important. So that's what I see where we are now. Audrey, did that answer your question?
Well, I see it not so much as the words themselves, but the energy and the essence of the words.
Yeah.
Because we know all those words do have energy associated with them. So yeah, we're living the essence and we're taking that energy and inculcating it within ourselves.
Thank you. Much better said. Yeah. Anyone else?
I I taught a lesson on praise a few years ago. I can't even remember what I said. Anyway, but what I do remember is the word barak, which means praise. And I do remember I associated it with the Hebrew letter Aleph, because if you see the shape of it, it has a slanted line in the middle, and then a little curved line on the top and a little curved line on the bottom. So the yod on the top represents the upper world, the one on the bottom represents the lower world, and the vav in the middle, the slanted line, represents the space in between, that once we get past that space and connect the two worlds, then we become pure praise.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I even remember that I talked about. I'll have to look it up, see if I still have those notes.
Yeah, if you do, that would be great. I was looking at something that I wrote, and I think kind of links up to what we're talking about. Praise is a quality of mind. It is an awakening. It lets you see that you are more spiritual than you are earthy. So I like how you said it, though. It just connects the two worlds, and you become pure praise. You become pure thanksgiving. You become pure exuberation, and yeah. But just the more I looked at that word, the more it just kind of got me excited. And you know, when you look up those names in that first verse, I'm like, wow, this is speaking something far more than we originally realized. So, and I think those kings, it says during the reign of these, I think they represent opportunities. You know, because each one of them had its own period, its own time period. So they represent opportunities in the earth that man could look for light. Yeah, that's it. I got my other thought, but anyway, anyone else? Questions or comments? This the rest of this I like this second verse as well. It says, "Listen, O heavens, and hear, O earth. For the Lord speaks, sons I have reared and brought up, but they have revolted against me." An ox knows its owner, and a donkey its master's manger, but Israel does not know. My people do not understand. I really like verse 2. Listen, O heaven, and hear, O earth. So if the heavens listen, so that the earth can hear, what am I trying to say? When we reach this point that we are trying to describe, where you see that I am I am Isaiah, I am Yah, I am truth, I am praise, I am the strength of Yahweh. When you reach that point, and that is your ambition and your only ambition, you become the heavens. You become enlightenment. You become what the earth needs, what the earth sees. So there is no hearing in the earth without somebody being the listener for enlightenment, without somebody being that what's the word, conduit to pull light into the earth, without somebody hearing the rhythm and feeling the rhythm from the heavens. So that verse kind of speaks out to me, because it is through that verse what he is saying that he hears the voice of the Creator. The Lord speaks, and if it were not for the heavens listening, then the speech of the Lord would not have been heard, or maybe not have been understood. So he says, for the Lord speaks, sons I have reared and brought up, but they have revolted against me. An ox knows its owner, and a donkey its master's name, but Israel does not know. My people do not understand. Again, if you look at verse 2, the listening of the heavens, this is talking about wisdom. When we pull this, when we open our ear, when we have a desire, when we listen intensely, when we decide, you know what, there's more to this. Who am I? I want to see this. And even in the midst of sometime this week, you look at things and you say, Lord, what is this? What do I do with this? We are always listening. We never stop listening. We never stop reaching and hearing and trying to feel the vibration of the rhythm. So when you do, that is your wisdom, and that is your understanding, and that is what brings about the knowledge. He is saying Israel does not know. My people don't have that knowledge. In other words, the intimacy that you build up from listening, the intimacy that you build up from gaining that wisdom and having understanding. My people do not understand. That when you gain that understanding, it starts in intimacy. No different than a husband and a wife and someone who are close friends, or two sisters, two brothers. They have an intimacy. They've been around each other so long, they've experienced each other, and they know what each other love and what they don't love and who they are. They know their cultures. They know what values they have. They become one. So if you are not listening, you cannot become one with the Creator. You cannot have any kind of knowledge about what is what it takes to be holy, and what it means to be praised, to be the strength of Jehovah. You don't have that type of relationship with him. So he uses all these examples. The ox knows its owner. The ox speaks to your journey. The ox talks about traveling. So the ox has an idea of who he is, and the ox knows what his role is in life, because he takes his cue from his owner. So there is no questioning. There is no other thoughts of who and what it's supposed to do. Almost likewise with the donkey. The donkey knows its crib. It knows its master's crib, as opposed to, I would think, from any other crib. That it knows where it is fed. It knows where it takes its rest. It knows its comfort place. It knows that. So he's using these as examples for us to kind of simplify things, for us to see who and what we are. And really, to me, this is talking to the church. From this point on, where it talks about the sons I have reared and brought up, this is talking about the religious aspect of the church and where we are right now. So, but any questions on any of this so far?
So, Ron, this is Charles. When you said it was about the church, I was thinking about the howl and the goats. You remember we were talking about
that? The howling and the shepherd, is that it?
And yeah, when the shepherds, that like the ox knows he knows his master voice or whatever they call it. How do you say it?
Yeah.
And anyway,
yeah.
That's how I saw it when you said that about the church.
Yeah, that is a good example, Charles. A couple of things came to mind when you said that. I'm thinking about the sheep. The sheep knows the shepherd's voice, and yeah, that does come to mind. That also fits in here to be a good example. The sheep being an example as to being obedient, being loyal, and recognizing that they are loved and being trusting. So that is a good example. So the other thing you mentioned too, the hireling and the shepherd is also kind of fits in here, because that's really the avenue that the church has chosen to take is the hirelings, and meaning that you don't see any love and compassion for the people. Everybody has a different agenda. Everything is going earthy now. Everything's about making money, bigger buildings, and the status of whatever, but nobody is going out of their way in any type of way to see what's in the book and understand who we are. And what I like see in this message here is it kind of links up to what Jesus did, although everything he did affects all mankind. Most of his battle was with the church. Most of the conversations you saw with him was with the church. So anyway, just a thought. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Charles. Anyone else? As you go into this a little further, it talks about people don't recognize the fact that they're weighed down. People don't recognize the fact that for generations upon generations, we have gone wayward. We have not been on the right track. We have not been in pursuit of truth. We have gotten so caught up in religion. We have gotten so caught up in trying to please man and looking at our status. And even we as a people, and I mean the African, we are so elated now that we have prospered materialistically that we have lost sight of everything. So when I saw this and looked at it, the first thing I thought about is who and what we are as a people. It says offsprings of evildoers. People are weighed down with iniquity, offsprings of evildoers, sons who act corruptly. They have abandoned the Lord. In other words, the church has no idea of what Jehovah looks like, what that feels like internally. And when the scripture talks about leprosy, that is very real in the spiritual way even today. I think we talked about that being a disease that affects your nervous system. That's the medical part of it, but it blocks you from feeling. It makes your body numb. So the rhythm and the vibrations that we talk about, you don't have that. And that is the place or the status of the world now. Everybody is walking around not feeling that vibration. We're not being in rhythm with the universe. So, and that is why he who has set his vision on Isaiah and walking in that type of freedom, that is what makes you so important. That is what makes you needed in the earth, as far as the spiritualness in hearing what the Creator has to say. Any other questions or comments?
One more question, Ron. If you're that far gone and you're that far out there, how will you be able to hear what he say?
What we're doing, by what we're doing now. You are the light, Charles. When I read those names and I talked about Isaiah, Jesus said greater things that you would do. It is hard to wrap your mind around the fact that you are a deliverer. You are a deliverer. That's what we're doing right now. We're strengthening ourselves. We're walking and finding out who we are, and we're becoming stronger in that acknowledgement, stronger in recognition of it, but also in the acceptance of it. And part of that acceptance, going back to this first verse, is going, the recognition that whatever your journey was, Charles, it was different than mine, but the conclusion is, I am all that I am in this book. I am all that I am that you have put in me, that you have revealed in me. I give up those other ambitions. I give up everything that has had value to me. Remember last week we talked about our consciousness, those things that define who you are, and those things that talk about your values. Your values are being changed. They're being challenged. And as we go through this transition, you become the deliverer. My Father and I are one. We have the same ambition. It is God's will that all men be saved, all men be delivered. Makes sense?
So in that sense, we becoming Jesus' disciples now.
Yeah, in a sense, I think it is a transition. The discipleship is a part of that transition. Yeah. He also said, though, there will be a time that I will call you brothers. You will not always be under me. He said, my Father and I are one. That's what I'm seeing. And I don't mean that arrogantly. I don't mean it to sound, like I'm trying to be something I'm not. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm saying a discipleship is part of the transition. It is part of you looking at something. Remember, he said, hey, guys, follow me. And they dropped what they were doing. That's what I'm talking about with praise. Dropping everything that you have to follow me. And you follow to a point where that thing that you pursue is no longer you pursuing it. It has pursued you. You become what you are pursuing. That's what I'm saying, Charles. You grow to a point that you're no longer just a follower.
So, Ron, we talked yesterday about a process, and this is part of the process. We
Yes.
have not always known what we knew, how much we knew, and we still don't know very much in terms of all there is to know. But this is part of the process. We followed and thought we needed to do and be what Jesus did. But at this point in time, we understand, just as he said, my Father and I are one. Well, the entity called Jesus, the energy of that oneness, we and our Creator are one as well.
Yes.
So when we learned at a point in time, everything had to be through Jesus in Jesus' name. Well, we've grown and processed beyond that and understand that we have a direct connection. We are directly one with the Creator itself. So when Jesus said those things that it could do, we could do, that's part of it. When we become one, we have those same powers, the same purpose, the same energy, and the same desires.
Beautifully said. You're exactly right. Thank you. Thank you. Makes sense, Charles?
Oh yeah, it was making a whole lot of sense. Not only what you just said, it's just like all the worldly things that you running and seeking, trying to go after, and it's so hard. And you do get it, and you still running after other stuff. But Jesus said, if you seek me, just like God said, you seek me, all the other things will run and kiss you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it exactly. That's where we are. And part of the beauty of this is although we don't physically see each other week after week, I can feel the love and the closeness of the people on this line. And even if we were to ever have a meeting where everybody comes together, I know we kind of scattered about, but I feel like I would even know people that I've never seen before, simply because the energy that you have on this line. I just feel close to everybody when we log on to this and do this week after week. And that feeling kind of is so real, and I think week in and week out you kind of take it for granted until a day or something comes. If you miss a couple of days, especially if you miss consecutive days, just how it feels not to be a part of it. So anyway, that just something I experienced, I guess. Let's see, where are we? Verse 4, they have despised the Holy One of Israel. They have turned away from him. Where will you be stricken again as you continue in your rebellion? Your whole head is sick and your whole heart is faint. From the sole of your foot even to the head, there is nothing sound in it, only bruises and welts and raw wounds, not pressed out or bandaged, nor softened with oil. Religion has nothing in it, and I'm speaking spiritually here, that brings you any type of energy or any type of healing, or people are beat up and not knowing why. People are feeling heavy and burdened and not knowing why. And it's evident based on some of the actions that we see in the earth, all the violence, and either the turbulent weather and the earthquakes, and people are frustrated in their minds, in their hearts. A few weeks ago, when Nick and Pastor were talking about the chakras, and and Pastor was giving those physical examples of what happens in the brain and the pineal gland and I forget the other organ that he mentioned that secretes the oil that goes down your spine. I thought about that when I read these, that he talks about the sole of your feet all the way to your head, or your whole heart, or all those things reminded me of the chakras and what we were talking about. So we're walking around numb and we don't know why. And we turn to other things, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drug use, or whatever it be, music or some type of stimulus. And some people, it may be power that brings them that quick fix, that adrenaline rush that they need, because they have no idea what is taking place in them. But that is who we are. That is why we're reading this. That is why we're looking at this. And that is why, to me, this is a little different than most of our lessons, because this is talking from a different perspective. I don't see this as so much as I see it more in line of looking at it from the perspective of Elohim. You have seen that now. You have seen that and you recognize it. Here is now being Elohim what you see. This is your vision. This is what some of the things that you will see, that you will have to face. Know what it is when you walk out there in the world. Know what light you are when you encounter people. When you hear people conversing with each other in anger or in frustration, when you see people that are hurting, know who you are and be that light. And I'm not saying we always intervene. A lot of times you just listen, but it's almost like, I almost look at this like the lessons sometimes. I can hear anybody else, even myself sometimes, do a lesson. And if I don't write something down, I can't tell you anything that was said. We could do it on Saturday and do a recap on Sunday, and I can't recap because I don't remember till somebody start talking to me about something. And somebody asks me a question at work or talk to me about something, and then things come back to me, and I don't, even then, after the conversation's over, I probably couldn't tell you what I said. So that's just kind of weird to me, but that just, to me, how spirituality works. But that's just an example of us becoming enlightenment. You will be what you are needed to be. So this talked about the heart, the center of who people are. People are hurting. The whole heart, the head is sick. So your thoughts are no longer healthy. All you think about is greed, or you're in a position that you're trying to survive all the time. You get sick sometimes, and you can't go see a doctor, and it worries you to death. You don't know how you're going to pay a bill. There is so much darkness out there. And all of it sounds so overwhelming. And I'm not sitting here saying me or anybody else is going to have the answers, but I think when time comes and we're in situations, the wisdom will come back to us. As we increase, so will the light. As we recognize that we're strength, we went through those kings, and each one of them talks about strength. As we recognize that we are the strength of Yahweh, we are the strength in the earth. We are the light that brings enlightenment from the heavens to the earth. As you recognize that, this will and this healing will come to you. Your land, verse 7, your land is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your fields strangers are devouring them in your presence. It is desolation as overthrown by strangers. The daughter of Zion is left like a shelter in a vineyard, like a watchman's hut in a cucumber field, like a besieged city. Unless the Lord of hosts had left us a few survivors, we would be like Sodom, we would be like Gomorrah. Verse 7 to me, again, is talking about consciousness. When it talks about your land is desolate. People have no idea who they are. There is no growth. There is nowhere for you to go in your thoughts. There is religion takes you in circles. It doesn't lead you anywhere. It doesn't bring you to enlightenment. It doesn't bring you back to feeling the rhythm of the universe. Your cities are burned with fire. In other words, your cities are destroyed. Cities are talking about the culture of who you are. Cities are talking about the thoughts of a collection of thoughts that you value. So here's where we live. This is where this is what you're confined in. You're confined in this place, and there is no growth there. There is no life there. It is all being consumed. And we sit and watch it, and we sit helplessly because we don't know who we are. Fields, again, is talking about land. You are the strangers that are devouring your land. The desolation, the overthrow talks about to turn away from. So as we look at this, this is talking to us. This is talking to us, and as I said, the goal here is to kind of walk through some of this and see who we are. I love the part where it gets to Isaiah in chapter 6. That was my goal. In fact, that's what I was preparing to look at when I started looking at some of this other stuff and saying, okay, he's being sent to do what? So I'm saying to us, we are being sent to do what? And we're seeing it here now. We are witnessing. If the things that we have read tonight we don't see on the streets, then just keep watching, because these are things that are happening right before our eyes. The helplessness, the people not understanding who they are, and the hurting that's going on. So, any questions, y'all? Any questions or comments? No one? There are parts of this. I was trying to look at this conceptually. It's too much stuff here to kind of run through it verse by verse, and we're trying to look at it that way. Kind of look at it in groups of sentences that kind of group themselves together. But I readily admit there are parts of this that I don't understand. Like, for example, I still want to know, because I think all of this that we have read today is from verse when it says, "For the Lord's feet, the sons I have reared." I think this is talking about masculine energy, the array of masculine energy, all the different diverse things that it does or have done to sort of ruin the earth. And setting things on fire, all the destruction, the strangers that it's talking about is men don't recognize who they are anymore. We're so far away from our morals. We're so far away from our spiritual values till we have no idea who we are anymore. So that's one. A couple of other things. Daughter of Zion. Zion, when it first started, being discussed in the scripture was talking about Jerusalem. And then in a couple of verses, it talks about Israel. So I think this is talking about the intimacy that the people of God have with the Father, that knowing that softness, that being in the bosom with. So the daughter of Zion, to me, kind of stood out, but I kind of passed over it, but I want to tell you why I passed over it, because I didn't feel confident in knowing what that meant, why that was there. So, and there are a couple of things in there as well, but I hopefully we got a thought from this and it made sense to you. And hopefully as we go on, we're gonna walk all the way up to looking at more responsibility that comes out of this. Questions or comments, y'all? Those are all the verses that I looked at for tonight. One of the things I guess is every time I looked at this, I got caught up in verse 1. That's a lot of stuff in there to me, and that really caught my attention. But then, if there are no questions or comments, I appreciate everybody. Yes, ma'am.
This is Vermel. I do have kind of question, and I'll understand if this isn't. My question is, in verse 8, it says, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers. What does cucumbers represent? Because I'm thinking a vegetable, but it's interesting, the word cucumber. I'd like to know, do you know what that means? Did you uncover that?
I did look that up, and a cucumber was a fruit, a vegetable rather, that was not very popular because it was thought to be hard to digest, and not everybody ate them. But it says the daughter of Zion is left like a shelter in a vineyard and like a watchman's hut in a cucumber field. In other words, if nobody's eating these cucumbers, that hut is going to be overtaken. That shelter in that vineyard is going to be overtaken. Those vines are going to overtake it. So it's going to be desolate. It's going to be not used for its intended purpose. So in other words, here you are born to be a human. You are born to house the spirit of Jehovah. You are born to understand, move to understanding and under the heavens and the earth, so that man, but if you are not moving in that direction, you are overtaken. You are overtaken and you are desolate. You are just a wasted hut that is once had a purpose, but you are no longer used for the purpose that you were intended to be used for.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarity.
Yeah. And like I said, I guess I went kind of fast over some of this. Okay. Well, the main thing is I hope you guys got a thought from it, and we, as always, the questions kind of drive where we go from day to day. So when we get opportunity, hopefully we'll go back to Isaiah. Okay. Meanwhile, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your questions and your comment, and I hope you have an awesome week. I do, and look forward to seeing you all Saturday. Okay. Thank
you, Ron.
Awesome
Thanks,
lesson.
Ron.
Awesome.
you. Goodbye.